Hey there guys, this is Obsidian Chill. Got another video for you today. Now this one I'm switching to Quantum for the new DLC just for kind of a change, and I think Quantum will be helpful for it. Before I did that, I wanted to do an in-depth guide for Mental. Um, I have done so in the past for different power sets, but basically this is just an in-depth guide to Mental DPS, AoE, single target, and controlling. Just the loadouts and rotations that I use. You don't have to take this as the Bible, just take this as a guideline. This is what brought me success in the raids that I was doing. First, I'm going to touch off my might is low because I'm spec pure troll, because that is my role in this league. So high end DPS or low end game DPS level have about 25k might. That's what I would have might if I spec pure. So I'm going to take a nitro just so that I can get somewhat close to their might. 24k, they have about 25k. So I'm still about 1,000 might off, but it's a bit more realistic towards endgame DPS that you're seeing in raids. All those electric munitions, rage DPS are all going to have around 25k. There's multiple people in my league that have 25k might. So this is just my attempt to get a bit closer to get realistic numbers. So let's get off the bat here. Nothing fancy, obviously, with the mods. The only thing different with the modding, if you're going for pure DPS, you would put supercharged bolt barrage in your head. I use Bastion. You can for the controlling side. You can also use energize, psychic shock for controlling. It basically boils down to a preference there. Everything else is going to be the exact same for mental. Nothing is different whatsoever. Yeah, so we'll get into the rotation, or I won't get the loadout first. We'll go to full in depth. So the Psychic Prism is the dot. The reason why Mental is so hit or miss or inconsistent, Mental is the one of the only power sets in this game that doesn't have a 12-second dot. Why? I don't know. It's stupid. Why not? Especially because invisibility's cooldown is 12 seconds. So if we had a 12-second dot, it would line up perfectly with invisibility cooldown, just like gadgets. Gadgets have 12-second dots that line up perfectly with stealth. So I don't know why Psychic Prism is not a 12-second dot. It should be, but we gotta use it nonetheless because it's still a decent dot. So obviously invisibility, and invisibility I just have ambush pain, bolt barrage, the supercharge. Sometimes you can sneak in an extra power and then use horrific visage just for the supercharge generator. Sonic Cry is a great melee move from the iconic tree. That's going to set up our Daze effect. TK Bolt is going to use that Daze PI. Terra Tendrils is obviously going to be the Terra PI. Terra Tendrils, I'll kind of show it off here why Mental is still melee. You have to melee anyway with Sonic Cry, but say if I pop like Terra Tendrils here, it sets up the Terra PI right away, but you see how long it took to actually get the damage from it. So if I was standing close, obviously if I hit it a second later, I'm going to get the damage because you don't get it until the actual tendrils hit. So that's why I still consider Mental a melee power set. It's a bit more melee, obviously, with Sonic Cry, because Sonic Cry's range is fairly limited. So I'm standing about 2 squares away. Sonic Cry doesn't hit. I have to be within that 2 square distance. Now it's just hit that target. I guess I have to be, that's going to be 5 meters or so? And now it hits everything. But yeah, you're going to be melee with Mental. That's about the bottom line. Mental does not have a ranged AoE rotation that's any decent whatsoever. And then obviously Terra Tendrils Mass Terror. So basically you're setting up a dot, clipping your dot, and then basically using the Daze PI and Terra PI. That's about it. The downside to this rotation is that it uses very heavy power, which kind of a drawback, a bit of annoying just because of the power cost moves. So this rotation is not going to be for everyone. You can still use it raids. The main issue here why it uses so much power is just stupidity from the devs. So Psychic Prism has a 300 power cost. So that's about 4,700 power. Invisibility costs 4,700 power to use. And then Ambush Pain itself uses 47 power. So I'm clipping a 900 power cost move in a matter of a second. So that's the huge spike in power that you're using just to clip 3 powers. Invisibility and stealth shouldn't have power costs. That's just stupid. They didn't have power costs in the past. Why that was, it's just one of those quality of life changes that will make mental a lot, and gadgets too. Like the power requirements are a lot less than them. But this is essentially going to be the rotation here. Basically, just going from left to right. Psychic Prison Clip with Invisibility and Ambush Pain, Sonic Cry, TK Bowl, Terror Tendrils, Mass Terror. And then refresh the dot. And I'm probably going to run out of power there. Yeah, so I'm out of power. So obviously if I had troll, it'd be nice. But you can kind of get the gist of the rotation. The first parser was 21k, almost 22k. This one was 22k. So it's a fair parser. High-end gadgets and rage parsers are around 25k. So mental being in the 22k range, it is still competitive. Mental is still very competitive. You just have to be melee and you have to have a lot of power. So those are the two drawbacks. But mental can be very viable with this rotation as long as you can melee and have power. If you have very control and have a limited power, mental is very, very powerful. So we'll jump over to the single target variation now. Changes slightly. You can see I'm using heat vision. Heat vision is more A, to keep the power cost down, and B, it helps the cooldowns line up a bit nicer, which you'll see. So same thing, nothing really changed with the loaded. It's just basically just heat vision instead. I use cryokinesis. Basically, it's a low power cost move. It still hits very hard without the PI, which is nice. But here's essentially the rotation here. Same thing, left to right. And you can see there, heat vision lined up very nice with the cooldown. And obviously this rotation will depend a little bit on the strength of the crit of Ambush Pain. So you can get, on the high end, you're going to be seeing like 12, 13k. On the low end, you're going to be seeing 10k. So that, yeah, so we had 10k, 11k, 13k. So you're going to see fluctuations with this single target, and that's basically just from the crit of Ambush Pain. So it's similar from gadgets. If you're using surprise attack, if a surprise attack has a nice crit, obviously you're going to be getting a higher parser. If it doesn't crit, you're going to be getting a normal parser. So same thing. So that first one, Ambush Pain did not crit as well, so you're getting 10k, which is about average for a decent single target. And then when it does crit nicely, you're seeing 11k, 13k. So it's 13k is a very decent single target parser. The high end, like Celestial, high end gadgets, they're sitting around maximum 14, 15k. You can probably push higher than 15k, but 15k is very, very high for a single target. And mental just pulled out almost a 14k, 13.7k a second with that Ambush Pain crit. So once again, mental is very competitive from a single target aspect and from an AoE aspect. Same thing, this rotation uses a bit more power, but that's just the thing with mental. Mental uses a lot of power, you can't do anything about it. So we'll jump over to the controlling side, just so I can show you what I do there, because this is my primary role. And we'll jump back to these guys. So same thing. I've said it before in many of my videos. I go for might and power first, and then I just spec the rest into Vit. All my mods are going to be Vit power, Vit power, Vit power, and all my yellows. And in my regular ones, I do Vit might. There's going to be another Vit might here, somewhere like that. So yeah, basically, like I said before in my previous new controller meta video, once you hit that magic sweet spot of like 37k, 38k base power with your artifact, your control artifact, and using the triple debuff rotation, that pushes your power pool to about 40k. which I can kind of show here. So 1 debuff, 2 debuffs, 3 debuffs. And if I pop to my power, that's about, you saw 39k power. So it's about 40k power pool, which makes it easier to maintain this triple debuff rotation as mental. But that's what it is. Horrific Visage, obviously the supercharge generator. Did it disappear? No, it just glitched out. The supercharge generator instant psychic shot is going to be the defense debuff, Phantom Flames.
Okay guys, I apologize for the lower quality of this video clip. It was recorded before this guide. It highlights the glitch a lot better. As you can see, I'm encasing the target using a Therapy Eye and Cryokinesis, and you can see from the sparring target, he is applying the healing debuff, but you can see from my supercharge bar and the text that my 150 bonus for the regen, like that you just saw there, is not being applied to my character. It's because the target is encased. He cannot be ghosted, and ghosted seems to be specifically tied to whether or not you get the supercharged regen bonus. So you'll still get the debuff, but you won't get any of the supercharged regen, which is the whole point of spamming your supercharged generator. So this is why you do not want to use cryokinesis in your loadout, even though it costs less power. You don't want to run into a situation where the target gets encased and you hit Horrific Visage and you don't get any supercharged regen from it. So just take it off, put Phantom Flames on, because it's not worth running the risk until this glitch is fixed. Once it is, then you can put Cryokinesis back on. But for now, leave it off because the glitch is too much of a drawback. Back to the guide.
Okay, so as you saw in the clip, you cannot use cryokinesis in your controller loadout because if a target gets encased, then you get no supercharge generation whatsoever. It's a bug and annoying one, so that's why you have to use Phantom Flames as that third debuff. Yeah, it's a higher power cost, which is annoying because I would much rather like to use cryokinesis, which only costs 200 power cost, but you got no choice because you need that supercharge generation. So once again, it's Handblaster Solar Flame clipped into the first debuff, and then the second one, then the third one, and then the supercharge generator off cooldown, recharge, supercharge generator again. Now the debuffs are off cooldown, so debuff 1, debuff 2, and then go into, well, technically it's debuff 3, whatever. That's the rotation there for your controlling. And that's going to be the same for, doesn't matter what power set you are, and you can supercharge whenever you want. So with that rotation there, you're going to give up the maximum power to your group as well as maintain the 3 debuffs, which gives you in turn the higher power pool back to the rest of the group. And trinket wise, you don't necessarily need the Central City trinket. That gives about, if it crits like 2k power back, usually it's around like 1000 power. You can put an orbital strike in there. You should have the summer event trinket because that gives you about 2 to 500 power on spawn, and obviously your other trinkets there. But that's about it, guys. As mental as a breakdown. If you have any questions or concerns, you can leave them in the comments below, and I can answer any questions you have about mental itself. Take care, guys.